WFC United, WFC.
Good evening and welcome to the AFU WFC show with me, Matt Crane. Fantastic show tonight. I've got two very special guests joining me and Gareth. Gareth, first, how are you doing?
Yeah, it sounded brutal the way you worded that.
Sorry, Gareth.
But yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. And obviously we're joined by Jordon and Kirsty, who both play for FC United Women. How are you both doing?
All right, yeah, good. I mean, could be better after the defeat yesterday, but
we'll not talk about that.
Yeah, we're putting that one behind us. So other than that, we're good.
Fantastic. So obviously tonight's show, then we're going to talk to you both a little bit about your careers, about FC United, and then we'll finish off with a general Q&A for a little bit of fun. So obviously starting then with FC United, Kirsty, you've been there for, is this your 10th season now?
Yeah, 10 years now, yeah.
And you're also captain of the club. So talk to me a little bit about your journey and how you found that from sort of, you know, the very start. I mean, if you want to, you can start with how you got into football and then kind of go through it.
Yeah, so I started playing football when I was around about the age of 9. It was mainly because I've got two older brothers, so they've always been very football focused and football driven. So I kind of picked it up from them a little bit. My mum was always that typical mum that wanted to be like gymnastics, dancing. Oh, I've got myself a little girl now, and didn't quite turn out how she planned it up. As my mum words it, she's got 3 boys now. That's how she puts it. But no, yeah, I started about the age of 9. First team played for, I think, was Brendan Bees, but it was like a mixed team. But the first female team that I played for, girls team, was Stalybridge Celtic, and I was under 14s, and then I got scouted there by the Greater Manchester Centre of Excellence, which was based at Curzon Ashton. So I went over to there, and then from there, that's when Manchester United took over the Greater Manchester Centre of Excellence. So it became Manchester United Centre of Excellence, and I was there from under 16s and under 18s. And obviously once I turned 18 at the time, they didn't have the Manchester Women's open age team. So it was kind of just like, let's go off and find where we can go kind of thing. Then that's when I found FC. Came down FC. One of the girls from United actually said to me, why don't you come down to FC? I've come down, it's really good. So I was like, you know what, I'll try it, and came down and not left since. So it's good. I mean, when I first joined, it's crazy, like going from, I mean, obviously you've been down to Broadhurst Park at the moment, but I don't know if you've seen the playing fields at the back. Like that's where, across the road from Broadhurst Park, that's where we started off playing. I mean, it's crazy. Like we've gone from having to pick up dog poo week in, week out and put up our own nets with people on your shoulders and things like that, to playing in the facility we have now. Like there's just no, it's just crazy. It's unbelievable, the facilities that we've got now. I mean, even teams in the league above don't have the facilities that we've got now. It's just, you just feel so privileged to have that facility that you've got. I think it makes a big difference as well in your performance, and just the vibe and the environment that you create is a big thing in terms of the facilities that you have as well for players. But I mean, like I say, it's my 10th season now. Who knows how long I've got left? I don't know. I mean, I seem to be finding my form at the moment this season, which is quite a surprise myself, to be fair. I didn't think I still had it in me, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Give it a couple more seasons probably. But yeah, 10th season, I'm not stopping just yet.
That's good to hear. And obviously yourself, Jordon, just talk to me a bit about your journey, because I believe you were at Bury prior to FC United, but obviously do you want to start from the start as well?
Yeah, my story's not like Kirsty's. I've got 2 older sisters and they played football. I was about 7 and I was waiting to go to swimming lessons while they were playing football, and I just joined in one day, and then I was better than my sisters. So I carried on playing football, and they're older than me, and they stopped after about a year. And that was just a local team called Dunsker Dynamos. But at the time, one of my PE teachers, he coached at Bolton Wanderers. So then I went to there. I was there till I was about 10. Then I went to Manchester City, played there till I was 16. And I had to leave City just because my dad was moving away and I couldn't get there anymore and stuff. So then I actually stopped playing for 2 years. And then I went to Bury, played for Bury for 6 years, and they folded. But I went to FC, and I've been there for 2 years, and I absolutely love it.
Brilliant.
That's it.
Yeah. So obviously talking about FC then, last year was obviously very difficult with COVID and everything. This year it's a step up, obviously, from, tier 5 to tier 4. How have you both found the step up then in terms of everything? Like, obviously the opposition will be improved, but if you want to talk to me about that and obviously how difficult maybe it was due to COVID with everything sort of being stop-start for the past sort of 2 years as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was difficult for everyone during COVID, not just obviously the football side of things. I think personal life as well was quite affected. And me personally, as captain, I felt it was a bit like my responsibility to try and keep the girls together and the team together during the lockdown, because a lot of people, like you say, we weren't socialising, we weren't being able to see each other. And obviously football is normally your escape from a lot that's going on in your personal life. So because we didn't have that as well, I think it took a toll on people's mental health quite a bit. And a lot of people were ready to give up. Me being open and honest, I got to a stage and I was just like, I've got so used to playing football now. What if I can't? When we do go back, what if I don't find that love for it again? And it was kind of a scary moment to go through, because it was kind of like it's all I've ever known since the age of 9, and then COVID hit, and it's kind of like, look, we've been so used to not having this now. Like, what's it going to be like when we go back? Can we all find the love for it again? Like, not just me, just in terms of speaking on behalf of everyone. Like, even though we missed it so much, it was just like life was just completely different. You didn't know, like you say, it was so stop-start. We was then able to go back to training. I think we played like 1 or 2 games, and then it hit again. So it was just kind of like, are we getting our hopes up here for it just to be crushed again? And then the whole terms of like promotion and things like that was up in the air. And then obviously Cam decided to leave and part ways. And then it was just kind of like, what's going to happen here? Like, but thankfully we had James at the time, and we obviously still got James now. But I mean, if it wasn't for James taking over when Cam left during that time of uncertainty, I'd dread to think where FC had been now, because it's just like we didn't want to put out an ad for a new manager until we knew what league we was going to be in, because obviously if we were staying in the league that we were in, we might not have attracted like a candidate such as Tom. Obviously we've attracted Tom because of the promotion. So like I say, if we didn't have James to hold the fort together kind of thing, it would have been tough for us to kind of pull through that stage. So I think during COVID, it's just been difficult as a whole, like you say, in terms of life in general, socialising, getting the players just motivated and driven back up to get back into the game, find the love for it. And then obviously we had the uncertainty of the manager situation, and it was really good because the club was always behind us, and the club have always said, obviously, like me and Chelsea have been there pretty much from the start. The club kind of trusted us to make the decision on who we wanted to come in and the way we wanted to go about things. Like, the club weren't pushy with anything or any decisions. It was kind of like, look, you know the team the best, so you tell us what you want us to do, kind of thing. So it was the club respected us in the sense of that we didn't want to put out an ad for a manager until we knew about the league that we were going to be in. And I'm just so glad we did, because I don't think we would have got Tom if we didn't. So I'm kind of glad we did hold out until we found out about promotion. And like I say, we're fortunate enough that Tom and James have just got that. They've got that partnership, or you can call it a broship, should we say? Just so glad, and all the girls are just so glad that Tom listened to us, and he was just happy to keep James on board, because I think them just as a duo, they're both just like the vibe that they both bring to changing. It's just crazy, and Tom's experience, and obviously James is a businessman, so his like persona in general, just him as a person, just lifts the energy at training, at games. Like, he's just so good to have there. And then obviously you've got Tom's knowledge of the football side of stuff and his coaching experience. It just, together, they just work so perfect for each other. I just think we couldn't have got any better, really, than what we've got at the moment. And like you say, in the first 2 defeats against Newcastle and Chester-Lee Street, it was kind of, oh, what's going to happen from here? Like, are we bitten off more than we can chew, kind of thing, getting that promotion? But then we found our feet. We was like, look, let's reset. We've realised that this is not going to be an easy ride. That was so used to winning. So I think it was mindset. And again, James had a massive help in that, because he's very good in communicating with players and things like that. And like I say, on a personal level, like, he's just such a motivated guy. Like, in the way he words things in the changing room, it just gets everyone pumped up. And it was just like, again, just him and Tom together, they just bring that energy. And it was kind of, look, we're here to compete in this league. Like, we got promotion because we deserve promotion. So let's start showing why we got promoted. And then from there, like, things have just got better. And I think we've finally found our feet. Obviously, the fitness side of stuff and the physicality of this league is completely different to what we've been used to. But I think the main thing for us was adapting to the mindset of actually losing and how we learn and turn around a defeat, because we're not used to it. So it was new territory for us to be defeated, especially by the 6-0 that we got beat in the first week off Newcastle. So I think that came at the right time, even though you don't want to get beat by that margin by anyone in any game. But I think that came at the perfect time, because it was like, do you know what? We need to up our game. We need to train more, work harder, obviously believe in ourselves a little bit more, and then the results will start coming. And we've put in that hard work over the last couple of weeks, and obviously, apart from the defeat against Fylde, we've been proving that in the league now. So hopefully it's just onwards and upwards from there.
Gareth?
Yeah, so with obviously the step up and COVID kind of restrictions easing, we've seen fans come back to football now. How important do you think it's been this season, particularly after those first couple of defeats, to have the backing of the fans, in Broadhurst Park, to kind of like help you find that next level?
No, it's good. Obviously, for me, I've not actually been playing, so I've been a fan myself. I got injured in pre-season, so I've not had any luck at all since then, really, with injury. But it's really good to see all the fans back. It just gives you an extra boost. And when you see the regular fans coming back and telling you that how much you're improving and stuff like that, it's a really good feeling. And you can see more of the fans coming to the away games as well. Obviously, because before, when there was no fans at all, it was a bit like you don't have the fans' energy to lift you up. But now there's more and more fans coming, to be fair. A lot of fans that was there when we first started, some of them have even come back. So it's really nice. The fans make a massive difference.
On that then, go on. Gareth, was you speaking then?
Nope.
Oh, something jumped in. I was going to say, obviously, you talk about sort of fans lifting it then, and obviously being back, I suppose, because like we talked about before, COVID, obviously, you talked about how hard it was players-wise, but I suppose as well, sort of, in a way, fans can relate a little bit, because obviously, we saw sort of higher up the leagues and, in the men's game as well, that it was behind closed doors. And I think, being back, like you said there, sort of, lifts everybody, and it's great that everybody's now back together, sort of in grounds as well, supporting. I think, like you said, it does make a big difference, because I think sometimes if, the game maybe not going as planned, you've got sort of fans behind you cheering you on, it can make a huge difference. And I think, I remember seeing some of your pre-season games, and there was like maybe 50, 60 people on the Astro, and then you get to like a match day in the stadium and there's like 150, 200 people. It's really good to see. Obviously, we touched on facilities, and you mentioned it earlier, Kirsty. You talked about being on a field now to being in the stadium. Obviously, that being a big help then, how much of an impact does that have? Because obviously, sort of Astro and, training on a field is completely different to being in the stadium. I suppose it'll probably help with your game as well, won't it, in terms of the style of play that Tom sort of implements, and obviously training standards as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just nice to have that certainty now this year of knowing that we're going to be in that stadium. So it's like preparing for the stadium games, because last year it was kind of a bit of uncertainty, obviously, with the men's game clashing with ours at the weekends and things like that. But now, because of the regulations for the league, we have to play in the stadium. We can't use the 3G pitch as a game. So I think, again, just mindset and mentality, knowing that we're playing in that stadium, like, it's such an unreal opportunity. And I think it makes the players fight again even more in training, because I think it makes them think, look, I want to be on that pitch. I want to be walking out in that starting 11 onto that pitch, like, because it is an unreal experience. And again, you're just so lucky to have what we have. Like, and I think every player realizes that we are lucky to have what we have. Again, at the level that we're at, like, it's just unbelievable that we get to share it all with the men's side as well. It's like I say, the club are 100% backing us, and it's just getting better and better. And I think it's only going to grow even more. Like you say, we're getting like 150 to 200 fans in the stadium. Hopefully, once we get the word out a little bit more and we keep getting these results in the league, the fan base is only going to grow, and it can only get bigger from here.
Absolutely. And obviously, we're just talking about fan bases, Jordon, and Kirsty mentioned there the men's side then. how important do you feel it is, obviously, to get sort of that one club ethos? Because I know, you look around some other women's teams and they're kind of what I call left on their own. They might use the club name, but they're kind of cast aside. But under FC, like Kirsty mentioned, it does feel like one big family. But how important is that then to obviously, have that backing and support from them?
No, of course, it's really good, especially Renault, the men's manager. He wants it more than anyone for the two teams to be one, basically. It just, when you're sharing facilities and events and stuff like that, it makes you feel part of the club. Obviously, you don't want to be separate because obviously a lot of women's teams, they don't have the backing of the men's club. So we are really lucky that we do have that. And like I said, Renault, the men's manager, he's the biggest advocate for putting the two teams together.
Gareth, do you want to talk about obviously the difference in styles and working under Tom?
Yeah. So obviously Tom came in over the summer, having sort of previously been at Sheffield and Manchester United before then. How different are kind of the style of play that he wants you to kind of go out onto that pitch and implement, and the expectations that he has in like training and beyond compared to maybe last season and before?
I mean, his expectations are always high, and that's what we kind of want, especially in, like I say, in this league again. Like it's what you need. You need to be pushed, and I do genuinely think it's James and Tom together that, especially Tom's coaching style, that's made me a better player this season. Not necessarily a better player, but I've kind of like found my youth again, if that makes sense. But like I say, I was so close to giving up, and it's kind of like I found the love for it again, and like I feel like I'm in form again. But I think that's because of the intensity in training, believing in myself, and obviously having that belief from your players and your coaches as well. And Tom's playing style it suits us perfect. I mean, we've adapted from a 3 to the back now to a 4 at the back, but that's because of the level we've stepped up in, and we felt attacking wise that benefits us. And Tom's all about attack. Like if they score 1 goal, they might score 1, but we want to score 4, so we're always going to like beat them on that level. And Tom's mindset is just let's attack, let's get the goals. And I think it's proven that it's working, because we're the second highest scoring team in the league at the moment. I think Newcastle have scored 17. I think we've scored 14 so far. So I mean, the goal difference won't say it on the obviously on the league website because of the defeat that we had at the beginning of the season. But looking at the stats, we've been told that we are the second highest scoring team in the league. So I think looking at that, we're doing something right in terms of how Tom wants to play and how he wants us to play. And I think we're slowly, everybody as a team is slowly gelling together. Like I say, it's been a big change for everyone. We've had the new manager, obviously coming back from COVID, coming back into a new league, new players, new signings, like obviously old players trying to bring the new players in and make them feel so welcome, things like that. So I think everyone's finally gelling together and the results are showing. So I think Tom's style of play is perfect for us, and the way he wants us to play and the way he does it in training, and he works through things like the players just understand what's expected, and if they don't, like Tom approaches it in the right way and he explains to each player like this is your job, like this is what I want you to do, and then we go out and do it. And again, that's why we've been getting results, because I think there's that relationship between the manager and the players that is very understanding of what's expected, and if you're not performing, then you're not performing, someone else is going to get that opportunity. So again, I think it's really good that we get pushed to our maximum, because it makes you be a better player, because there is so many, we have got a big squad and there's so many players that want to be in that starting 11. So you got to fight for your position. And again, like Tom's very good in the way he does that. In the intensity in training is just unbelievable compared to like what it has been. And we've obviously upped our nights to 2 nights a week now. And again, that was because Tom wanted that, and obviously we want that as players, but Tom's pushed that with the club since coming in, and we've been granted that 2 nights a week, and hopefully going forward that's what we're going to be sticking to. And again, that's just all down to obviously the hard work of Tom and James together, just pushing for the team, just to obviously want to focus on that style of play that they want us to perform. And again, 2 nights a week is perfect for us to do that. So hopefully in the upcoming weeks, obviously Tom can just embed that style of play even more into us, and we can just keep performing it in the league and showing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think on that as well, you talk about like the competition for places, which helps. And I think, don't want to go too much onto that Newcastle game. And obviously, you mentioned it took a couple of sort of defeats to realise, but I suppose in the long term that probably helped, didn't it? Because you've got new players like you talked about. There's some young players in there as well that are coming through, and then there's obviously experienced players as well. But did that sort of belief come mainly from those 2 defeats, do you reckon? Or do you reckon maybe the win against Bradford was more, this has given us the confidence we can actually now do it because we've got our win, and then you've sort of kicked on from there?
I think it was, like I say, I feel like that Newcastle game was an eye-opener for us, and it was kind of like, it was kind of like a kick up the backside, should we say, to make us think, like, look, we can't be doing this week in, week out, we need to up our game, like, we can't be performing like this. And then the Bradford game was definitely a turning point. I think it was that, look, we have to get 3 points here, and this is going to be our starting point. Like, we're gonna up it from here, and we're just going to continue from there. And I think it's not necessarily the football, because we know we've got the football in ability to beat any team, but I think it was that fight and that desire. Like I say, because we're so used to winning, I think it was just like a little bit of complacency. It's kind of like, oh, we're so used to winning, it's going to be quite a breeze. But then again, the Newcastle game was such an eye opener to tell everybody in the squad that, even myself, like coming up into that level, it was kind of a big eye opener to be like, this is not going to be an easy ride. Like, you're going to have to work for it. And then I think everybody realised. And then obviously you've got the senior players then bringing in the younger players just to helping them embed, because we've got a couple of younger ones that have never played women's football. They're coming from like under 16. So it's tough. It's a big step up for them. But I mean, they've all found the feet. So like, just everyone's found the feet in this league. And like I keep saying, I think I do believe that we've found our feet now, and we can go on to compete for the league. Obviously we're joint third at the moment, so there's nothing saying that we can't if we just keep picking up the results and keep working hard and focusing on what's important and what's in front of us each week, then there's no reason why we can't keep getting the results.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to come to you on this, Jordon, because I know you touched about obviously being injured, and it's been difficult so far for yourself. But something I've noticed, which is brilliant, and this is why I'm sort of coming to you on this, is the togetherness from those that are, maybe on the sidelines, that are really sort of pushing and encouraging everybody else. Do you want to talk to me about that then? Because obviously that's important. Is that something you kind of do naturally, or is this something sort of Tom's instilled? Because like I say, I obviously standing where we do sort of next to the bench, it's really good to see, because again, not every club, has that. I've heard in the past other clubs, and they've been saying, oh, why have they done that? And obviously there's sort of, comments thrown. But do you just want to talk to me a little bit about that from sort of, the sidelines and things like that, and helping, especially the younger players?
Yeah, we're all one big family at the end of the day. So we all want to achieve the same end goal. So if you're not playing, you're still part of the team. So you're not just going to sit with the fans. Well, I would sit with the fans, but you're not just going to sit away from everyone and just let them get on with it. Like, you want to feel a part of it, and you want your team to know that you're there supporting them. So whether you're playing, whether you're on the bench, whether you're injured, whether you've just not made the squad that week, we're all still going to be together at the end of the day. We all want to win. So yeah, we're always going to be there to support each other, and it's a nice feeling when you're with the team on the bench. If you're losing, you're there to big your team up. If you're winning, you're there to keep them going, really.
Gareth?
Yeah, excuse me. You mentioned obviously being joint third and wanting to try and push for the league. So is that the aim for this season for the club, to kind of push on and go for promotion to the third tier? And then on top of that, what are your kind of goals personally and individually for the season?
I mean, from the last few weeks that we've been performing, I mean, I genuinely think we are capable of competing for the league. And I think if we didn't have that in our heads, then there'd be no point in being in the league. I mean, we might be newly promoted, but Burnley have done it before. They've got back-to-back promotion in this league. And then so there's no reason why we can't do it. If we put in the hard work and we keep working like we're working, then I fully believe that we can go for promotion. Like I say, if we're not, then we're doing something wrong, because we don't want to settle for just finishing above relegation, so we're staying in the league. Like, we're not fighting to stay in the league, we're fighting to win the league. And I think that's the mindset of everyone in the change rooms. And if it's not, then you're not at the right club, because FC is all about that drive, and we just want to succeed, and we want to win. And like I say, I fully believe with the ability that we've got within the squad, and the mindset and the desire and the fight that players showing, and obviously the management staff as well, I think we can go on to win it. We just need to keep performing and keep focused, and just focus on the game that's in front of us at the weekend. And in terms of goals, I think the squad goal is obviously to get promotion and just keep getting better as the weeks go by, and embedding the new players and obviously the younger players, just making them feel like that they're getting used to the standard and getting used to women's football. Because it is at the end of the day, it's all about the team and making sure that every player is valuable. Everyone brings, don't matter whether you've been there 10 years or one season, like you're still as valuable as that person. So everyone brings their own different character and different values to the team, which I think makes FC what it is. It'd be a bit boring if we had a change room full of everyone that had the same personality. And in terms of personal goals for me, I mean, like I was saying, during COVID, I was unsure on what was going to happen going forward, because I kind of got used to not playing football, and with me playing there 10 years now, it's kind of like I'm used to not playing now. Am I going to lose the love for it? Not that I'm going to lose it. Am I going to be able to find it again when I go back? And I did. And I genuinely think that was down to Tom and James, like I say, together, and then the players coming in and the older players. Like, we just, as soon as we got back to it, it was kind of like, look, we're all together again. This is what it's about. And like Jordon was saying, it is a family. Like, we are one big family. Like, we're all there for each other. But again, personal goals, I just want to keep scoring, really, and keep succeeding for the team, really. If obviously it's nice scoring the individual goals, but for me, it feels more satisfying when you've scored a team goal. I think the one against the Anik game was the perfect example. We played, I think it touched pretty much every single player on the pitch before it came to me, and fortunately I was just the one on the end of it. But I mean, people like to give me the credit for it, but I wouldn't score them goals if it wasn't for the other 10 players on the pitch, obviously providing them decent crosses and decent balls in and things like that. So I think personally for me, I just want to keep improving as a player. And like I say, I was unsure on how long I was going to be playing for, but up to now this season, I'm kind of like, I've got a few left in me now. I've kind of found like a new love for it, should we say, and a new drive, and it's exciting. It's a new era, and it's exciting on how far we can go.
And Jordon, what about you? What is it that you want to achieve from this season, kind of personally as well as with the club?
My biggest goal for this season is to get back on the pitch. Yeah, that's all that's in my mind at the moment. It's been way too long. I just can't wait to get back out there.
And Kirsty, do you find that there's kind of extra pressure on you as captain, kind of when, those first couple of games when you kind of struggled to, or, a bit of a slow start? Do you find there's kind of extra pressure on you to be the one to be able to find that spark or that kind of moment that can get the season started and going again?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as captain, it's always a big responsibility, but you take a lot of responsibilities on your own shoulders in terms of a lot of things. Like if players that aren't used to, like I say, the Newcastle game was kind of a mixture of things. We had players that have never played in a stadium before, never played in front of fans before, never played at that level before. And I think it was I did feel like a little bit responsible to be like, look, we need to pull these players together and make them realise that they are good enough for this standard. Like, we might have been beat, but everyone in this team is more than capable of being on this pitch in front of these fans in this stadium. I mean, there's obviously only so much I can do in terms of, I can't make people better players, but I can try and help them believe in themselves and be better people on the pitch for themselves, not necessarily for the team, but mainly for themselves, and just believe in themselves a little bit. I mean, Ellie Rigby was a prime example. She's not played women's football before, and as you can see, I think just the way the players are, all the players with her, they're just driving her. And then yesterday against Fylde, like she was in her element. Like you wouldn't ever think that she's not been used to playing at women's football level, like, because she's just, again, she's found her feet. And I think it's the environment that we've created for that, bringing them players in, that's helped her really boost her confidence. Because I mean, you've seen yourself on the ball. She's just like, I know Tom calls her the mini Messi, and it's true. You just give her the ball and like nothing phases her. She's there, and like she's playing at a level she's never played at before. But again, I think that's just the whole environment and vibe that we've created, and for these players coming in, it's just kind of like, yeah, I want to be here. I want to play. But I think like you say, as captain, you do feel like it is your responsibility. Then at the same time, it's kind of, you've got to take responsibility for your own performance at the end of the day. And if you can't, then we can't really do anything about that going forward. If you don't realise that you need to step it up yourself, then there's not much anyone else can do for you. But I think we're quite lucky in terms of all the players take responsibility for their own actions on the pitch and their own performances, and they all tend to own up if we've not had a great game individually, and then that's when we pull together as a team. So I think going forward, again, that's going to benefit us massively because we all pull together and we all help each other perform the best we can on the pitch.
Obviously, earlier on you talked about, you've sort of stepped up training now to doing 2 nights a week then. How do you both find it sort of juggling football with work? Because I know I spoke to Tom a few weeks back and he was sort of saying, some players miss out through work and obviously some arrive. I think you mentioned it might have been Abby, literally like a few minutes before kickoff. But how do you both find that in terms of, like balancing the two? Because obviously you've got full-time jobs and then you've got training, you've got matches at weekends. How does that sort of fit in with everyday life? Because obviously I'm assuming there'll be some sacrifices somewhere, if you want to maybe go out sometime, but you've got sort of a match the next day, so that holds you back. How do you both sort of manage that then?
For me personally, it's quite tough. It's physically demanding for me because I work with children during the day, age 3 to 5 children, like all day, Monday to Friday. So for me, physically, my job during the day is quite demanding. So then sometimes finding that energy. I mean, on a Wednesday night, it was fine because that's what kind of got used to. But then when we did up to the 2 nights a week, the Tuesday and Wednesday, it was kind of like, this is tough. Like, it's going to take me a little bit to get used to. But soon found my feet and got used to it because it's something you want to do. And you know that you've got to, again, it's just, I think it's mind over matter. If you want to do it and you want to be there, you kind of like tell yourself it's okay. And I'm fortunate that I'm in a job that I'll finish at 5 o'clock. So like work hours, I don't work weekends. So work hours for me are not an issue. But there's obviously a lot of players that obviously do have to juggle the work life with family life as well, because we've got obviously Chelsea, it's got children. Like it's just finding that balance and obviously trying to find the time to fit it in. But understandably, we're not at a level where we're getting paid, so at the same time you can't expect players to be missing work and obviously dropping wages to turn up to training twice a week. But the Wednesday night is the one that we say kind of like you have to be there, and then the Tuesday night, if you can make it that week, then you make it. But which I think is a good balance that Tom's found with players, because I think if you was not forcing the players to come Tuesday, Wednesday, but if you were saying, look, if you're not there Tuesday and Wednesday, then you're not going to be playing, kind of thing. And Tom's found that balance because he's very understanding in the fact that he understands that people have other stuff going on. So you don't feel that pressure that if you're not there, like you're not panicking because you know that you've got the backing of the team and the manager, that people understand that you're in different everyone's in different circumstances. Like I say, I'm fortunate that I work 9 till 5 pretty much. So getting to training and matches is not an issue for me.
I'm the same. I work 8 till 4, so the timings and stuff are not an issue for me. But what I find difficult is the eating. Like, you want to be eating properly before training and stuff like that. But the time you get home from work, you get changed, you're straight back out. So obviously you have to just kind of have a little snack, and then you're not eating until 9:30, 10 o'clock. That's the thing that I find the most difficult. But in terms of like getting to training and stuff like that, or missing work, I'm lucky enough that I work Monday to Friday, 8 till 4, so that doesn't really bother me too much.
Yeah. So in terms of obviously FC then, and this is something I noticed at one of the games, and again something that sort of came from James and Tom. They were talking about like the game being videoed then. So is sort of analysis part of your training routine then, or is it just pretty much football and maybe Tom will have the analysis and sort of feed that information? Because that's something you don't tend to see maybe outside sort of the WSL or even the Championship.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're so lucky to have our games videoed. We had to film, like I haven't filmed. It's just something we're very fortunate for, and like we always get the highlights. So like, say for instance, Tom notices something in the game, then he might send it to an individual player and say, look, just have a look at this. Or he tends to send it into the group chat and say, look, just have a look at the video, have a watch over, look at the team performance, but then watch it over again and look at your individual performance and obviously where the goals have happened. Like, is there anything you could have done better? So in terms of looking at it in training, we don't really look at it in training, only because obviously the time that we've got, we want to be on the pitch, we want to be playing football, we want to be getting something out of them 2 hours that we've got. But in terms of like analysis, I mean, everyone's obviously sensible enough to think, look, I'm going to watch that highlight. I want to improve myself. I want to watch my own performance. I want to watch the team performance. And then you just learn from it then, because then when you turn up to training and people are talking about the game from the weekend, you're like, yeah, did you see this in the video? Did you see that in the video? And it's kind of like, you then, like, it adds it all together. You kind of, yeah, next week we can't be doing this. Next week we can't be doing that. Or Tom will look over the video and he'll say, right, from the highlights from the weekend, we can see that we need to work on this, we need to work on shooting, or we need to work on defending set pieces or something like that. And then, so that Tom's definitely looked at that video in depth and he brings it to training and then feeds it back to the players.
Yeah. So sorry, go on, Jordon.
I wasn't going to say
I feel like I was going to speak. I was just going to say, obviously, then we talk about analysis. Then does that maybe help in terms of goal setting? Because I'm obviously saying Tom looks at it, and obviously James will, and sort of the rest of the coaching staff. But maybe if you've, I don't know, say if you've had a bad game or a bad couple of games, would you maybe look at that and think, you know what, for the next 2 or 3 games, I'm just going to look to, complete so many passes, or, does sort of goal setting come into it from that? Or does it just kind of go with, literally what you've seen and what to sort of improve on? And that could be team goals or maybe individual goals that you may even set yourself.
I mean, for me, looking back at highlights, it's decision-making personally for me. It's knowing when to take that shot or when to try and play that extra pass across the box. That's my personal goal from watching previous videos. It's just in that last second instinct, like, what decision are you going to make? Is it going to be the right one? So again, for me, it's just that decision-making and deciding when is the best chance to shoot and when is the best chance to cross it or pass it on the edge of the box. Because there's been a few times where Ella would hang off on the box. And I've not looked up in time due to my own mistake, not looking up, even though Ella's screamed for it. I've just instantly played it across the box, but there's no one there because Ella's obviously made that run to the edge. And even Ella came to me and said, look, just think about it. And then I started to think about it more. And then that's when, obviously, I think it was it about the Bradford game when I assisted Ella? I think it was twice. And again, that just came from the communication from each other, because Ella came to me and said, look, let's try this. We tried it and it played off. So for me personally, I mean, I don't know about Jordon, but for me personally, it was the decision making that I had to take from the videos. And I'd like to think, with obviously the couple of assists that I've had the last couple of weeks and the goals, I'm improving, but there's always space for more improvement. What about you?
No, I'm pretty much exactly the same. I play the same position, but on the other side. So when I watch highlights and stuff like that, I'm looking for my own mistakes, looking for things that I've done well, what I can improve on. There's always things that you can improve on. And when you watch the highlights, it's a good opportunity to notice them little things.
Great. And with, obviously, Jordon, you've now spent quite a bit of time injured and with a difficult start to the season. How important is it that you look after yourselves off the pitch and find some, that downtime to take yourself kind of away from the pressure of football? And what is it that you guys both do in order to kind of look after yourselves kind of mentally to make sure that you're able to stay in that right? You mentioned mind over matter. How do you keep yourself in that right headspace to go out and perform and sort of work to recover from injury?
For me, obviously, it was just trying to keep positive that I'm not going to be out for so long. I needed to try and keep myself in the right headspace, because obviously when my rehab started, I needed to be in the mindset of I'm going to smash this. I'm going to be back as soon as I possibly can. But obviously it's nice to get away from football sometimes, especially when you're not playing, because you don't want to be in your own head thinking, God, I've been out for ages. So for me personally, it's been about 9 or 10 weeks. So it's good to obviously just do things with your friends, your family, just normal things to get football out of your head sometimes. Obviously it's not that easy when all you want to do is play. But we've got a really good physio. So he's a person that I've been doing my rehab with. So all that's in my mind now is literally, I just want to get back. So I'm going to keep in the right mindset, and the harder I work, the faster I'll be back.
I mean, for me, Jordon will tell you, I never switch off. Never switch off. Not necessarily, like, obviously on the pitch, we've got that. But then I've got a group chat with James and Tom that it's never stopping. We're always looking for new ideas and new ways to improve the team and things we can put in place for players to just just create that positive environment and go moving forward. We just want to drive forward so much. So it's not necessary that I just don't really, not that I don't want to. I feel like obviously sometimes you have to switch off, but I just have that urge just to keep going. It's just no stop. Just in general life anyway, I just don't have a pause button or a stop button. Like I say, Jordon will tell you, I'm just constantly go, and she has to say to me sometimes, Kirsty, you just need to stop, take some time to yourself. But again, when I do have them moments of realization, we just tend to go like for a walk or take the dog out or spend time with family. I mean, nothing's better than spending time with family, is it? So I think that's the perfect downtime and just takes your mind away from it. Again, like I say, don't want to keep going back to that instance, but after that Newcastle game, like I just never wanted to feel that feeling again. So it was, I think that week was just a perfect opportunity just to take a little bit of downtime and reset and spend time with the people that mean the most. And it really helped me reset and be like, look, this is just a defeat. Like, we're obviously not used to it, but we're going to go again. So that really helped me spend time with the family and just get out in the fresh air for little walks and things like that. And like I say, just you're thinking, obviously you're always thinking about it, but it's nice just to have that moment to reset and go again.
Is that the hardest thing then after a defeat, sort of like maybe switching off and putting that behind you then? Or is it something you both sort of tend to think, right, you know, that game's gone now, I know what I need to do to improve. We're looking at now the next game and obviously improving in training. Is that something that sort of comes easy, or maybe, you know, like you say, you might think about it for a couple of days and then once you're in training, you're sort of focused on the next game that's coming up?
I think for the Newcastle game, like obviously the defeat against Fylde as well, I think the difference in them was the Newcastle game was kind of like we knew that was our own performance. There's no excuses for that game. Like, it was just our performance. It was just a bad day in terms of performance, attitude, complacency, like fight, desire. We just didn't have it. Like, and it's hard to say, but it's the truth. And I think we realised that obviously from the margin of the result, and it was, like I say, it was a bit of a wake up call. So it was a tough one that I think I was in a mood probably for about a week. I think I was for about a week after that. I just couldn't get over it. It was just a painful one. Whereas like yesterday, obviously the defeat against Fylde, that I feel like that was completely different. We tried our best. We played, we tried our best, but you just couldn't take it away from Fylde. You just got to give them that respect. They're a class football inside that are obviously competing to win that league that they're in. So I think the difference in that is it wasn't our performance yesterday. It was just that we got outclassed by a really good footballing organised side. Whereas the Newcastle was a little bit different because that was our own fault. That defeat, we could have changed. That result could have been completely different if we had gone out with the right performance, the right mindset. So, like I say, after the Newcastle game, it took about a week to get over that. But the Fylde one yesterday, it's kind of like we said to the team at the end in the team talk. We just said, look, don't let this be a reflection of the weeks to come, because it's not going to be like this. This was just we drew the hardest team in the cup that we could possibly draw, like at the end of the day. And they're obviously going to go on and try and win it. So I think we did ourselves proud yesterday. We didn't give up. But like I say, just respect to Fylde. They're just a really good footballing side and really organised. And they are going to do well. You can tell they're going to do well. So I think it's just different in obviously the kind of defeat you get. Like I say, the Newcastle one took like a week to overcome and get past it. But the Fylde one, it's kind of like not over it already, because you never get over a defeat like so quick. But the mindset of it is different, because it wasn't our fault. We tried our best, whereas the Newcastle game, it was our performance that we knew wasn't good enough. So I think it just depends on obviously the kind of defeat and who it is you're up against.
Yeah, and I'm going to sort of go back to better times. The Yannick game, obviously, Kirsty, you scored 5. You mentioned a team move as well. And I was lucky enough to catch one of your free kicks on video, because I got one from pre-season. But do you have a favourite from that game out of those 5? Or
the favourite goal was the team goal. Like, I can't take credit for it. I was just fortunate to be the one on the end of it. I mean, like you say, the individual goals, when you score a free kick or a penalty, like, they feel good because you're scoring. You're getting a goal for the team, but like, you just get a different feel when you score a goal that's been scored from a team, like team play, possession play. it's just a different feeling because you celebrate, even though, again, you celebrate every goal together. But I think when you've scored a goal that's been worked through all the way from the back to the front, it's just a different feeling. And like I say, I scored 5, but at the end of the day, if I didn't have the players on the pitch with me, providing them passes, providing them balls, I can't take the credit for it. I'm just fortunate that my finishing on that day was clinical. And in some games it's not been. But in that game it was all right. It wasn't too bad. But yeah, I think my favourite goal from that game was the team goal. Again, it's just a different feeling when you score a goal that's been played from the back. But I mean, the free kick, I enjoyed the free kick because that was the one that scored the hat-trick. And I did say to Kate, and Kate will back me on this. I said to Kate, when I put the ball down, Kate said, "Are you taking it?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm going to get my hat-trick here. Watch this." And then it went. It was kind of like I called it. So it was nice. It was nice to have that little moment with Kate after where we was laughing, and she was like, "I knew it. You told me." And I was like, "Yeah." But no, yeah, that was my second favourite. But the first was definitely the team one that had worked its way all the way from the back.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about free kicks actually, because I remember the first game, and this was from open play. I think was it maybe the Wem game? You were on the left wing, you just hit it from about 30 odd yards outside the box.
Yeah,
it was one of that because I remember Tom just said, "Oh, he's like, what? Watch this," and he was like, and he was giving me a bit of stick because obviously I got your free kick on video, and obviously I tweeted those both the other day, and he was like, "Where's the other one? Where's the other one?" I just remember it was just, it was one of them, like you say, where once it leaves your foot, it's only going one way, and that's top corner. Gareth, do you want to we'll wrap it up with a fun sort of Q&A, and then go from there.
Yeah, so a couple of non-football questions. If we were going to put your phones on shuffle now, what sort of music would we listen to?
Oh God, Justin Bieber. Yeah, Justin Bieber. I mean, I have to pull with that. Like, you know whose car you're in basically when that button gets played. You know who's got in charge of the music. I mean, mine's quite a variety. It depends on the mood that I'm in, to be fair. You could go, like, I can go from one extreme to, I can go from, like, Stormzy, Bugsy Malone, and then on the next extreme, you're listening to Lewis Capaldi. Like, it's quite a difference, but Jordon tends to be a Justin Bieber fan. Keep the logo.
And then beach holidays or city holidays?
I'm beach.
Yeah, beach.
Bit of sunshine.
Bit of beach.
Bit
yeah,
of a tan.
It's got to be a beach. Love a bit of a tan.
Tell you what, on the music, I think it was it had been the Anik game. We walked in and we could hear it, and they were sort of saying, it was quite lively. But sort of who controls that then in the dressing room? Have you got sort of like a select person that does it, or do you just kind of go with the flow and stick something on? I'm just thinking if you've all, same with your different music tastes, or.
I mean, Kate O'Gara tends to be the DJ, but she's quite into like the house, like the heavy beat stuff, like the no words based stuff. But there's a couple of players that aren't a fan of that. So again, especially Anya was one to speak up in the change room for the Anik game to say, "Can we change it up a little bit?" So now Kate's still in charge. We're keeping her. She's still a DJ. She's still got that title, but I think she's had to change it up slightly. So now it's still that bass, that big drop, but it's got words in it. It's got words in it now.
Fair enough. And then if you could both describe yourself sort of as players, we'll go with 3 words each. How would you describe yourselves?
Oh, that's tricky. I hate talking about myself.
Just like my attributes kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like
Anything.
Fast, skillful, direct. That's me.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh gosh, this is a tough one. I mean, for me as a player, I'm always looking to improve all the time. Even though I'm in my 10th season now, I still think I can get better. So for me, I'm always looking for that improvement. So I'm always not a little bit hard on myself, but I just want to push myself. So I'm that player that just wants to keep pushing really and improve.
Dedicated.
And yeah, we'll take that one. I'll take that one off Jordon. Dedicated, obviously, very dedicated and loyal as well. I'll say that's another one. Very loyal to the club. Goal scorer. Yeah.
You need 3
I've got
words.
to be a goal scorer. Loads of goals. Go on, keep going. No,
3 words.
no. I think the dedicated, committed, and the loyal one for me describes my time at FC. I think obviously I've got the loyalty to the club. They've got the loyalty to me, and the dedication to obviously just want to do the best for the team really and take the club as far as we can.
Yeah, I've got one last one. You're stuck on a desert island. You can pick one teammate to take, but you can't pick each other. Who are you taking?
I'm taking Chelsea.
I'm gonna take Kaylee just because she'd just keep you going because she's just full of energy.
It's just good. Yeah, that's a good one. No, I take Chelsea because I feel like Chelsea's the mother of the team, so I think I'd be all right if we had Chelsea there. She'd take care.
Yeah,
she'd take care of everything on the desert island.
Couple of songs as well. Speaking of DJs, you have to nominate yourself, Jordon.
No, I will.
Put yourself up there. You have to say, fans walked in and heard the racket that was going on. They said to change it and then nominate yourself.
I'll play a bit of Justin Bieber. I'm sure they'll all love that.
Do you know what? I'll put myself on the line here. I hated him when he was like a little kid, but ever since he got a little bit older, he's actually got some decent music.
Yeah, but you played JLS in my car before, so
I play a bit of
I'm not
everything.
sure your opinion can be trusted.
Well,
no. Everything, Matt, but I won't go as far as
I love a bit of JLS. Please, the song.
Yeah, no, me and Gareth get stick because obviously when we do away games, we go on a minibus and some of us are into 90s and just anything, and some people just go absolutely wild. So it's always interesting to hear different choices. Come to the end of the show, so thank you very much to you both for joining us tonight. Back tomorrow, Natalie's got her show at 7:00, and keep an eye on the schedule for the rest of the week. And we will see you all soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.